Wow, that's a tough one. Okay. So you know what? I think I would do, I would do a two-pronged approach. I do an online and an offline process. Online, I would set up all of my attraction. Like, who am I attracting? What's my target market? And I'm going to assume I'm with the same company. So health and wellness target market. And I would get out there and start doing all of the attraction pieces, doing reels, joining Facebook groups, friend requesting, all of those types of things. But I'd also do an offline strategy, which is getting involved in the community, joining a chamber of commerce, joining a networking group, because I know if I do both approaches, I'm going to meet the most people as fast as I can. And that's what I need to do.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan, and I'm fired up to bring our special guest today with Jennifer Glacken. Hey, Jennifer, are you ready to make it happen?
I am ready. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am excited about this call.
Jennifer Glacken was a professional ballet dancer who later on worked as a store manager for Sears department store, for those who even know what Sears is, and also a product manager for a phone company. She also has a patent before she got started in network marketing. Today, she's a full-time leader, a six-figure earner, and leads a team of over 304,000 customers. But a little bit more about Jennifer. She also got to homeschool both of her kids, who have since then graduated from college, is an ordained minister, and has numerous amounts of hobbies, including hot yoga, strength training, traveling, hiking, reading, doing puzzles, and participating in Bible studies. Anyway, Jennifer, I've given everyone a brief intro about your very diverse background. But take us back. How did you go from ballet dancer to network marketing?
Seems totally crazy, doesn't it? Well, I was a ballet dancer before I went to college. So there's a whole story there, but we're not here to talk about that. So I went from ballet to college. And then after college, once I got married and had kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. And I got introduced to the products that our company offered because my son had some major health challenges. And I was introduced to the environmentally safe cleaning products. And I was so skeptical, Simon. I couldn't believe that cleaning products would make a difference in my son's health. But I was told I'd get all my money back if I didn't like the products. So I tried them. And within 3 days, my son had major improvements. And so from there, I started to check out the personal care products, the nutritional supplements, and I just fell in love with the products and the company. But I was a customer for 6.5 years. And a lot of people assume I jumped right in with 2 feet to network marketing, but I didn't. I've been in the industry for 30 years because I started as a customer. But it really wasn't until my husband at the time lost his job that we needed some income. And I decided to build a business. And I really thought I'd be building it for a very short period of time, but I loved the products and thought, this is something I can sell. This is something I can go out and do.
So how long ago, what year was it that your husband lost his job and you started to build network marketing?
He lost his job in 1999, and I really jumped in with 2 feet January of 2000. I went to a leadership summit, and that's where I captured the vision and thought, you know what? I think I can do this.
What made you think you can do this?
Well, I saw all sorts of diverse people walk across the stage, all different types with different backgrounds. Everybody shared their story, and the stories were all so different that gave me belief. That gave me the ability to say, you know what? All these different people can do it. Why not me? And I had that attitude, and I like I said, I jumped in with 2 feet and I just ran forward.
So once you got started, most people struggle, but how did you do in your first couple of weeks?
You know what? I had an income need. So my husband lost his job. We had 2 little kids that I was homeschooling, and I wanted to continue homeschooling them, and I didn't want their world to be disrupted, but we needed money. And so I went out and I did anything and everything. We were having in-home meetings in our home. I was setting up booths at craft shows. I was going to networking events through the Chamber of Commerce. I did a farmer's market every Saturday. I literally did anything and everything I could to grow my business because I knew we needed $4,000 to $5,000 a month. So within the first 6 months, I was earning that income, and my pace didn't slow down. The pace stayed high because I really fell in love with sharing the products with people and then also offering this amazing opportunity to people.
Now, when you first heard about the products, going back because your son needed them, right? Or someone recommended them. Was it a friend? How did you get introduced to it? Was it like a friend or they reached out to you? What was it?
Yeah, it was a friend, but I actually had three different people introduce the products to me, which is sort of interesting. The first two people didn't offer to sponsor me. They offered to sell me some product. The third person said, you know what? You should try these products and we should get you set up in the system as a member. And she was the one who sponsored me. And so it's a really good lesson. And I share this with my team a lot, that sometimes we don't really completely close the sale. Sometimes we just think, okay, well, I'm just going to sell some products to somebody. But then I ended up in a different organization. I could have ended up in one of those other two people's organizations. And as a multiple six-figure earner now, I'm sure that they would have appreciated having me as a part of their team.
So what did you mean by that? Like, they just try to get you a customer. What made her different? Like, she actually told you about the business, or because you were just a customer for a while, right?
Right. In our company back in that day, you signed up. So you had to put your social security number in the system and you signed up, because remember, this is a long time ago. So companies don't necessarily do that now for customers, but even the customers put their social security number in the system. And so once she had me in the system underneath her leg, so to speak, that's the leg I was in, and that's the leg I'm in still today. The other two people just were going to sell me some product out of their home. They had bought product. They were going to just share it with me and then have me pay them cash. And that was going to be the end of it.
Got it. So why do you had success pretty quickly? Why do you think you had success? Well, a lot of people struggle, or they want it, right? But they don't have the success that you had.
Simon, I think it goes back to my discipline. I was a very disciplined ballet dancer, and I was very disciplined in school. When you're trying to do ballet full time and become a professional dancer and go to school and also have to take classes for potentially going to college, I was very disciplined with my time. So when I was homeschooling my kids and working a business, I had to be very disciplined with my time. I knew what the income producing activity was, and that was people. I needed as many new people in my business every single day that I could possibly get. And so whatever I needed to do to make that happen, I was out there. I failed a lot. If we went back and listened to some of my conversations, you'd hear, being pushy and all of the things that we teach people not to do. But because I talked to so many people, I couldn't say the wrong thing to the right person. And at the same time, I couldn't say the right thing to the wrong person. So I found enough right people because I talked to enough people.
Can you share a story? Because you mentioned about discipline. Discipline is so important. Share a story about an example of discipline. Something that you really didn't want to do, but you did it anyway.
Oh gosh. Well, I would say just about every networking event. When people meet me now, they think I'm an extrovert because I can be extroverted. I can, get my energy up high, but I recharge by myself. So I'm really an introvert. So when I had to start going to chambers of commerce for networking events, oh my gosh, Simon, I hated it. I was such a nervous wreck before I'd walk into the room. I had to rehearse what I was going to say in my introduction over and over again in my head. I hated doing it, but I knew I needed to get in front of a lot of people. And in a networking environment, especially like a chamber of commerce, the goal is for everybody to help each other get business. So I knew if I could find a chiropractor, if I could find somebody in the health industry, a fitness trainer, somebody that would have a lot of potential customers, that would be a win for me. And so I just kept focusing on that, and I tried to get over the fear. But, I can remember stuttering. I can remember looking down at the floor. I would bring note cards in with me to read my introduction. So I was very awkward, but I still did it. So I think that was a good example of discipline.
Now, in your extensive bio they sent me, you talked about in almost everything networking group, you have become a leader or gotten to a leadership position, whether it's Chamber of Commerce or whatever, BNI, whatever, right?
Yeah.
How does an introvert go and become a leader in a networking group?
Well, I had to, because once again, it's about that sphere of influence. You think about what creates influence. And, you're hearing a lot online about branding and people branding themselves. And what we're trying to do is develop the know, like, and trust factor. When you're in a leadership role in any type of a group, people get to know you. Hopefully they like you and they get to trust you if you're a strong leader. And I knew that inherently, if I would just step up into leadership, that would give me more of an opportunity. In the Chamber of Commerce, when you were running a networking group, they introduced you to a lot of other people. They gave you a lot of opportunities to introduce yourself at major Chamber of Commerce events. In BNI, I've been in BNI for about 8 or 9 years now, and being on the leadership team was just so incredibly important for me. Yes, I was a nervous wreck. Yes, I had to speak every week, but I developed a very strong sphere of influence to the point now I live in Detroit and my BNI is down in Toledo, Ohio. I drive an hour and 15 minutes to my BNI group every single week, still to this day, because I get so much out of it. I have so many referrals, and all of that came from me stepping into leadership.
Now, so how do you step into leadership? So how does say someone's listening right now, think, hey, I want to be a leader, because obviously the advantages of being a leader is obvious, right? People will look up to you, they'll listen to you. So if someone that's introverted like you and they join a group, what can they do to get people to respect them and treat them as a leader and to have them as a leader?
Well, I think you look at the group and you look at where leadership is needed. So like in a BNI group, there's loads of different opportunities. You can be a visitor host, you can be on the membership committee, or you could be the president of the group. I wouldn't recommend, if somebody is super introverted and nervous, I would step into one of the smaller roles so that you can build your confidence, so you can see that you can do it. As you step into each one of those layers of leadership, you're going to grow as a person. And you're going to realize, well, gosh, I think I could do that next level. And I've watched people in our BNI group start out, as a visitor host where they just, welcome people when they join or when they come into the room. And they've stepped all the way up into being a president because their confidence just continues to grow. And so when you're introverted, sometimes it's just about helping build that confidence. And what builds that confidence is getting out there and doing it, because action takes us out of doubt. And of course, doubt takes us out of action.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of action and discipline, obviously, consistency is very important. How do you stay consistent despite like homeschooling and doing all these things?
Yeah, that was about setting your priorities. And so for me, that daily discipline of saying, okay, what's the top priority for today? So some days it was doing follow-up calls because maybe I'd gotten a whole bunch of names at, let's say, the farmer's market. So this is, of course, back in the day. In today's world, it's making sure that I'm answering all those messenger messages. It's making sure that in my project broadcasts, when I have sent out, people are supposed to text something back to me, I'm just keeping on top of all of my leads, my names, and who it is that I'm talking to. But it's about that daily discipline of knowing what's the most important thing to do. Because Simon, in this industry, we can get so caught up in other things. Anybody can pick up their phone and do social media scrolling for hours and not have accomplished anything. So what's the most important thing? Are we trying to attract our audience? Are we trying to influence them? Are we trying to enroll them? Back in the day, it was, how many people am I out there talking to? And then how am I following up with those people? And so never getting caught up in, I'm going to clean my desk today, or I'm going to shuffle some papers around, or I'm going to get organized, because I hear people on my team all the time say, I'm just going to get organized today. Well, that's not an income producing activity. And how many times are we going to get organized? And how long is it going to take us to get organized? For some people, take months.
You talk about attracting people and attraction marketing is something you're very good at. So what is attraction marketing? And if someone were to start with it, what should they do? What are the couple of first steps they should do?
I think of attraction marketing as creating curiosity, but the first thing that you have to do is you have to know who it is you're trying to attract to you. So when you're trying to, we talk about target market. A lot of people call it their avatar. There's a lot of names that are out there in the marketplace. But who is it that you're talking to? So if you're in a health and wellness business, and let's say you sell a weight loss product, who are you trying to attract? You're not just trying to attract everybody who wants to lose weight, but maybe you had a pregnancy and you gained weight and then you wanted to lose weight. Maybe that's the type of person you're trying to help. And I always like to think of it as, where have you been on your journey? That's most likely the person you're trying to attract. When you dial that in and you know who you're attracting, then you have to get the message out to those people. But you don't want to be spamming people with products. And I see it all the time online. People are posting sales and specials of their products. If you're creating curiosity, if you're adding value about maybe what the product does, not specifically saying this product does X, Y, Z, but teaching people, maybe in the weight loss arena, getting more exercise, drinking more water, eating a cleaner diet. All of those things would be things that some people would still need help with along the journey. Now, yes, you have a product that you can sell, but that's not the only thing you're helping people. That's not the only value you're bringing to the table. Because if all you're doing is trying to sell a product, you end up not developing that know, like, and trust. People get to know you and like you and trust you when you provide enough value. You're really helping them along their journey. And that comes from knowing who you're talking to. And like I said, it's usually the person you are or you've been in the past, and you're just a couple of stages beyond, if that makes sense.
That's really good stuff. Yes. Attraction marketing, just providing value. right? Giving
Right.
people and people will come to you. Now, this is my favorite question. What is your worst? You've been in the profession for like 20 something years. What is your worst moment in the profession that you had maybe even doubts about this, whether you should do it, but you didn't quit? And that's why you are where you are today, Jennifer.
Well, I've got a lot, but I'll just share one. And if you want more, I could definitely add more to it. I can remember this is when I had first gotten started. It was probably in my second or third year, and I had attracted a new person who wanted to build a business. So a new distributor. I lived in Illinois at the time, and she lived out in California, and she was super excited about building the business. Well, as a newer leader, I jumped the gun and I immediately, I booked a plane to go out there. I booked the hotel room. I got my rental car set up, and we booked 3 in-home events. And then we were just going to play all of the one-to-ones by ear. Well, I get in the plane, I called her. We talked before I got out there. We had everything lined up. I land on the ground, get my rental car, and I went straight to her house. Well, when I show up at the house, all of the blinds are closed. And I'm sitting out in the car and I'm thinking, well, that's weird. I've talked to her. Everything should be good. So I'm just going to walk up to the door and ring the doorbell, which I did. No one answered. Got in the car, went to the hotel, called her from the hotel. No answer. I thought, okay, well, something happened today. I'll call her in the morning because the first in-home event was the next day. So I wake up the next day. She's gone radio silent. It's like she's in the witness protection program. I can't find this girl anywhere. I go back to the house. I'm looking in the windows. Or trying to peep in the windows. There's like all the blinds are shut. I am panicking. So I go back to the hotel room and I was actually crying. I'll just really be honest. I was crying because I thought, I've spent all this money. I've rearranged my entire life at home because I was homeschooling my kids. And so I've had to rearrange my entire life at home so that they would be taken care of. Everything would be working back at home while I'm out in California. And my first really big distributor, or so to speak, I thought it was my first big distributor, they're gone. I can't even find them. So I thought, well, maybe I really can't do this. Maybe this isn't for me. And when I got on the plane, so nothing happened, never got to do an in-home event, never did a one-to-one, never saw the lady at all. But when I got on the plane and she had my itinerary, because I'd obviously sent it to her, she thought I had taken off when she finally called me. So I had my cell phone. And I answered, and she was shocked that I answered because she thought I would be in the air at that time and we had had a flight delay. And it was just a really awkward conversation. She never really built a business at all. I don't even remember her sponsoring anybody. But I learned so much from that, Simon, because I was really excited and sort of banking on her to be my distributor. And you can't ever bank on somebody. You can't ever want it more for them than they want it. And I certainly don't get on an airplane for people until they've proven themselves now, at least a little bit more than she had.
Why did she even call you? Did she feel guilty?
Oh, I'm sure she was feeling very guilty. It was a very stilted, awkward conversation because when I answered, there was dead silence on the other end of the phone. And then she said, Jennifer? And I said, yes. And I was angry. I was really upset. I'd spent a lot of money and a lot of time. And she didn't really, she kind of apologized. She was making a bunch of excuses. And in the end, I said, I've got to get off the phone. We're getting ready to take off. And that was it. So it was bad.
Where in California was this?
It was in San Diego.
So what did you end up doing in San Diego during those couple of days?
Went out, walked around, cried, called my husband, cried, called my upline, cried. I really, because of being an introvert, I don't like to eat out alone and stuff like that. So it ended up being very awkward and very uncomfortable in total. I do like to exercise, so I found a couple of places to work out. So that was therapeutic in a sense. And I brought a book with me, so I read my book. But it was just.
So what made you keep going? Like what made you think, hey, this is still worth it? Because you're committed, and these people just treat you like that, not even showing their commitment, right? What decided you to keep going? I should keep doing this.
I think I still believed in the bigger vision, and I still believed in people enough. And the way I turned it around was I took personal responsibility for it. I didn't ask enough questions before I went out there. I really didn't know how committed she was. And so I learned a lesson because I think I was role playing this the entire time I was out there. I was going through in my head, what mistakes did I make that I don't want to make in the future? And I really did learn to play tennis with people, or ping pong, or whatever you want to call it. It's like you hit the ball to them and they have to hit it back for you to do something. If they're not hitting the ball back, they're not engaged. And over all of my years in this industry, I found that I have to sign up 6 distributors to get one that's actually going to run and move forward. Now, it's not like clockwork. It's not like every 6 is the one, but it's basically every 6 I find a good one. And that sounds bad when I say a good one. I'm not trying to judge a person, but I'm finding somebody who actually is going to run forward and do the work necessary to build a business.
Yeah. I think everyone says it, they would do it, but when I think the numbers are right, 1 out of 6. And I think from my experience, just from my own personal experience, I was talking to people like you, like leaders like you, often the ones I'm most excited, it's like, oh, Jennifer, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do it. Watch me. Those are the ones that actually do nothing.
Do nothing, right?
They're almost a guarantee because they're so emotionally excited so easily that little, rejection, and then they just crash and they do nothing.
Right. Well, and there's a lot that you have to overcome. There's a lot of personal growth that you have to go through. And there's a lot of things you have to overcome. Like you said, that first little rejection, and that can squash somebody's dreams. And yeah, over the years, that's been something that's been important, is to really find people who are going to stay in the game and do the personal growth work so that they can really make it.
How have you seen the industry change in the last 20 something years? And do you see people more open to network marketing, or it's been the same? Well, maybe less open, or it's the same?
I find it to be the same. I know there's a lot of, scuttlebutt out in the industry, and especially now because we have social media and you can have anti-MLM groups and different things out there that we didn't have back in the day. I find that it's about the same number of people. There's a lot of people who've never understood the industry, who aren't necessarily against it, but they just don't understand it. And then there's that handful of people that you're never going to change their mind. They're not interested. But, when you ask how things have changed, I think social media has really done something very different for our industry. Back in the day, you only could hear from your upline and learn from your upline because that's all you really had access to. Now you have access to learn from all sorts of different leaders across all different companies. I think about even our conversation here. How would I have gotten to know you had you not been online? And I think it's really important that we learn from all these different people, because you can really maximize the efforts of all these people who are teaching and training. And there's a lot of great information out there. On the flip side, there's also a lot of people leaving and going to different companies and all of that stuff that happens, because I think sometimes the grass looks greener. I've been in the same company for 30 years. So obviously I'm not somebody who's looking for something like grass looking greener somewhere else. But a lot of people, they hop from company to company, or they follow leader after leader after leader. And some of that I think didn't happen in the past because they didn't even have access to those people. So that's been the biggest change I've seen.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. I think it's probably the easiest time to recruit someone.
Yeah.
Because because thanks to social media, everyone knows of someone that's been successful. Right. Well, back in 20 years ago, I didn't know anyone, aside from my uplines. I didn't know anyone in other companies. But at the same time, even though it's the easiest time to recruit someone, it's the hardest time to keep people.
Right. I agree.
So what do you do to keep people? Like creating that for retention?
I think team culture is extremely important, and that's something that we talk about a lot as a team. We have weekly team meetings. We have team hot seats where we help people answer questions. When we go to larger venues, like we were just at a leadership summit last week, we go out for a dinner as a team. And so we have an opportunity to socialize and connect. It's really important, I think, to make the team feel like they're a team, and we have a team name. So we've got a team name with a logo, and we've got swag, so people feel like they're part of something. But I think one of the bigger pieces is also feeling really like your team is modern and that it has all of the systems and processes that you need to grow. Because sometimes you can absolutely love people, but if you don't feel like you can grow in an environment, then you need to make money. That's a lot of the reason why people are a part of what we do. And so we have a team system. We have modern systems. We've got automation. We've got tools that people use so that they can actually build their business very successfully, even though we're with a legacy company. And they have the team feel and the culture and all of those pieces. And hopefully that's what makes people stay.
Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing so much wisdom. You've been incredible. As we go towards the end of the show, some quick questions to pick your brain. And these can be quick one-liners.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. It's by Jennifer Lee.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
Being disciplined.
What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Stay focused and put those blinders on.
What is your favorite prospecting tool that you use? So say someone is interested Do you do a one-on-one meeting with them? Do you send them a video first? Do you hop on a Zoom? What do you like to use?
We have a recorded webinar that I actually did, but I use that to duplicate. So because I use it, my team uses it, but it covers the company, the products, and the opportunity.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
I'd say Project Broadcast. I'm on it all the time.
What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to MLM Nation?
Oh gosh, I love The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I love Atomic Habits by James Clear. Those are just 2 that just pop up right off the top of my head.
And here's the $1 million question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. Your contact list was 0. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to find prospects and build a business from scratch?
Wow, that's a tough one. Okay, so you know what? I think I would do a 2-pronged approach. I do an online and an offline process. Online, I would set up all of my attraction, like, who am I attracting? What's my target market? And I'm going to assume I'm with the same company. So health and wellness target market. And I would get out there and start doing all of the attraction pieces, doing reels, joining Facebook groups, friend requesting, all of those types of things. But I'd also do an offline strategy, which is getting involved in the community, joining a chamber of commerce, joining a networking group, because I know if I do both approaches, I'm going to meet the most people as fast as I can. And that's what I need to do.
As we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Jennifer?
My best piece of advice is don't give up. There's a lot of times that this industry can feel tough or can feel challenging, but there are so many success stories, and it's usually success stories of people who just didn't give up. They just kept moving forward. There's always going to be the ups and the downs. There's a lot of personal growth and personal development that has to happen to capture that success in this industry, but it's there for all of us. And so I would just encourage everybody to just keep moving forward because you can have the success. And then people can find me in a lot of different ways. I'm known as Jennifer Glacken or Jen Glacken on all of the social media sites. So I've got an Instagram account. I've got a LinkedIn account. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. So Jennifer Glacken or Jen Glacken, JENN, GLACKEN.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you've been hanging out with Jennifer Glacken. So keep up the momentum and go to MLMNation.com, click on the show, the podcast tab and the show notes page with all the aha moments, the takeaways, the quotes that Jennifer shared, and definitely links to her social media profile will be right there. Definitely go follow her and check out the wisdom that she's pouring in and how she became one of the top leaders. Hey, in order to be successful in life and business and in network marketing, you must help others. So Jennifer, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you. And we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again. God bless you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, MLM Nation? Simon with a little recap. I want to share a story of the struggles that Jennifer, when she talked about her challenges, made me reminded of my journey and journey of a lot of you that you can relate and something that will help you out. So anyway, before we go, make sure you go to subscribe and leave a review for the podcast. We made a lot of changes. We have a big vision for this podcast for the next 3 years. And it's just 3 years and beyond, right? We really want to make an impact. When we first started the podcast, we're the only ones that did the interviews. And now you see, when you do network marketing MLM, there's a lot of these anti-MLM stuff. Hey, we're better than that. Yes, a lot of people haven't been successful, but there's not so much good in network marketing, right? And I don't want to mention those negative podcasts out there, but there's a couple of them that's pretty well famous. There's so many downloads, right? Hey, I want to lift up our show to let the world know, hey, network marketing does change lives. And yes, it's just like in real estate, people lose money. In stocks, people lose money. Crypto, a lot of people lost a ton of money. Even baseball cards, people lose money, right? And everything, there's good and bad. And network marketing, there's some bad, but there's so much good out there. And I really want to let people, when they search about small businesses or home-based businesses, how our profession, we've made, as someone told me whether this is true or not, I believe it, like network marketing has made more millionaires than any other profession. Maybe true. Well, I definitely know it's made the most millionaires out of average people like me, someone who was introverted, didn't have any skills, enjoyed great lifestyle. Definitely super grateful for this profession. So, hey, please go and subscribe, leave a review for us on iTunes and on Spotify. And subscribe to our YouTube channel so more people out there can see how our profession is actually legit. And this will actually help with your prospects as well. So please do that. Okay. Also, go to the show notes, follow Jennifer to see what she's talking about when she's talking about attraction marketing. That's a big thing. And the one thing I want to share with you about the aha moment I had and brought back memories was the struggle to be a leader, right? Like I asked her, how do you be a leader in a group? Leadership is not started one day, right? You got to act like that leader. But if you go to, and I love her answer about how to become a leader. In every networking group she's a leader. So it doesn't start like just happens. But this is what you can do, whether it's online and offline. This is what you can do. You start providing value in small different ways, right? So for example, if you go to just an offline meetup, you can go and help out with registration. You can help out with setting up the chairs. Any small little responsibility will increase your leadership, right? If you're doing a Zoom, being the MC, being the host, or setting up the Zoom room, making sure people attend, reminding team members to go, setting the last minute messages, I want you to write this down. Any type of responsibility increases your leadership. And as your leadership increases, you attract more and more better people. Like Jennifer in every group, she's out there providing value, right? And she's taking that to online as well. Attraction marketing. What's attraction marketing? Finding that person you want to target, know what the problems are, and you probably know because you are that person, and then providing value every single day. So that's my challenge for you. As we wrap up this episode, is take action. And in what ways can you provide leadership, right? Responsibility. And it doesn't necessarily have to be business related. Some of it could be, if you're in youth sports like me, like baseball, go and help out with the kids, right? Help out in the dugout in the baseball game, right? Do something. How about the kids get ready, for when they're about just a youth baseball, get ready so they know what the batting lineup is, right? Help get the field ready. If you're at work, helping out your boss, any type of small leadership responsibility, any type of responsibility will grow your leadership. And then you can become a better and better leader. And each of these small little steps builds up your self-esteem and confidence. And before you know it, you'll be the top leader and people will be listening to you. Because the reality is, whatever these small little tasks, it requires you to speak up and tell people a couple things to do. So not only are you responsible, but you're working on your vocal speaking skills as well, your communication skills, learning to commute properly. So that's my takeaway for you all. Again, I'm not going to go over the detailed recaps. We've upgraded our show notes to aha moments, very detailed. Go to mlmnation.com, click on the podcast tab, visit our new homepage, and the show notes will be right there. We even have timestamps to find specific moments that will help you out. So that's what I have. Make sure you head over to mlmnation.com, follow Jennifer, subscribe, and leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. And hey, I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Let's all lift it up and go out there, have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.